Hi, Marion Emberson from Embossing Powder here. I wanted to share quite a few little techniques on this project with you. So I'm starting off with a wooden heart and I want to give it a base of colour. So I'm going to use some Paper Artsy fresco paint and the colour I've chosen is chalk. So I'm going to pour some of that on there and then I'm just going to take a baby wipe. And the reason I'm using a baby wipe is I don't want any brush strokes in there, so a baby wipe will give me a nice smooth surface to it because there's already some texture on there from the wood grain, and by applying anything wet, i.e. the baby wipe and the paint, that starts to lift the grain in wood as well. So if I wanted to do this all perfect and pristine, I would do a coat, a layer of paint, sorry, and then I would sand it down and then do another coat, but I'm not too worried about it for this. So as you can see, I've just given it a quick dry with the heat tool, and I want to do some stamping and foiling. Now the way I'm going to do the foiling is by using our bonding powder. So this is going to enable us to stamp on there and then apply our bonding powder and then apply our foil. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp, so I get lots and lots of juicy ink on there. And then because I've heated it and painted it, I'm just going to rub it over. I'm using an anti-static pad, but that's just purely just because of what it's got in there. We can use anything like talcum powder, anything like that. It's nothing to do with static. It's purely to do with any moisture that's left on there because the bonding powder will stick to anything and everything. So I'm going to stamp it down and then sprinkle the bonding powder on. Make sure I cover it all and then shake off the excess. And you can be quite firm and I always give it a good flick to try and get rid of any little bits that might be left on there. And I'll just pop the rest back in the pot. If you haven't used bonding powder, it's absolutely fabulous. It's so good for so many things like gilding flakes and mica powders. It's brilliant. So I'm heating this, so I treat it as normal, like an embossing powder, but I give it a little bit of extra heat to a normal embossing powder. And now I'm putting my foil colour side up directly on top of it. But the trick here, I don't want to take it off until it's gone cold. It has to go cold. So I'm just going to move on to this next little bit, and this is where I've just die cut a chipboard heart with double-sided adhesive already on the chipboard and then run it through the die cutting machine. And then I'm just going to take some foil and screw it up. And I showed this technique in a video the other day. It's something Michelle Johnson from Sticks 2 showed me a while back. And I'm just taking a lid from a spritzer bottle or anything that you want, any shape that you want. And I'm just going to place that on there, but I'm not laying the foil flat down. If I lay the foil flat down, it's going to take up all of that foil. So you can see I've got an extra little bit there, and that's where it just touched it. I'm really not that bothered because this is quite vintagey looking, so I'm not after a pristine look here, so it doesn't matter too much. It's very, very sticky, this Elizabeth Craft stuff, which makes it brilliant. But it sticks to your fingers. So now this is cold, I can pull the foil off of that. And you can just see that that's actually taken up. And it's quite a fine stamp, that one, and it just works brilliantly on it. But I'm not going to waste this bit of foil, so I'm going to do exactly the same. So I've got a mixture of the blush, which was the pink colour, and the silver going on there. So I'm just going to repeat around and put a few more little circles on there in the silver. Here it goes, sticking to me again. And I just want to always make sure that I'm screwing it up so I'm not getting it completely flat. If that happens, you want to just pray that it doesn't fall flat down on the paper, because if it does, it's stuck to it. So I was very lucky there. So now I've got the sparkles, new sparkles, which are Wow's Premium Glitters. It's not an embossing powder, it's not an embossing glitter, it's just a pure glitter. And when I say it's just a glitter, it's not just a glitter, it's a Wow glitter, and it's stunning. You need to see the range, they're absolutely beautiful. So I've poured that all over, and that's just stuck to all the areas that had the self-adhesive on there. And then I gave it a little burnish with my finger. I just sort of pushed it in there, so it just sort of, it takes it off, any loose bits off of the foiled areas. So you can just see on there. There's a little close-up for you. Okay, but now we want to make this look a bit more vintagey. So, and this is where the technique of this comes in. I'm using an ultra high powder, which, you know, all of our powders are regular powders. We also do super fine, but we also do ultra high, and this is a thicker granule, this powder. So I'm just sprinkling little tiny bits on, and then I'm going to do it. So I've done it in gold, and then I'm going to add some silver to it. I could actually put in just some normal regular powder as well if I wanted to. I could add some sparkles in there, because as these bits melt, it will grab the sparkles and it will hold it in place. But the trick here is I'm using baking paper. Because I can't heat from underneath like I could if it was cardstock, because of the thickness and it's wood, then I'm going to go from the top. So I'm using baking paper, and I'm just heating over it, and I do apologise because I've sort of blocked out the area, but you'll see it in a minute. You see it start coming through, and I just give little taps to it. So I'm heating it, and then I just give gentle little taps from the paper onto the wood on there, and then I'm going to lift, and then once I've lifted it, I can then just go in and finish it off. And when I say finish it off, I'm just giving it that little extra bit of shine, so as it melts that little bit more. And then it's going to be perfect. Now, because I wanted vintage again, my foil was quite pristine. If you run your heat gun over the foil, you get like a crazed crackle look going on with it, which is really great, especially for this type of project. So sparkles, you've seen me use with the adhesive. You can also use it with the bonding powder, and then just with a wet glue as well, it's great for that. You could also mix them in with your regular powders and then make a sparkly embossing powder out of it. Just never do more than 1-to-1 ratio, and then it will work perfect for you. So I'm just going to shake off all the excess. I'll get a little bit off of there. There we go. And then I'm just going to pop that back in the pot, because I don't want to waste any of it because they're just too gorgeous. I always pop my lid back on. And then I'm going to position that on there. I'm just going to put some foam pads on the back, just so that I give it a little bit of dimension. So I just want to peel those off and then stick it down. Sorry, I've got a bit of a wobbly table going on there. It's not until you play it back and then you see it. So sorry about that. So I'm just going to stick that down. I'm just going to go straight into the centre. You could do so many different things with these, like little Christmas decorations. There was already a hole in the wooden heart, so I'm just sort of putting some twine through, and then I'm just going to make it a little hanging decoration. So if you've done stars and that, you could get the kids doing things like this. It's really great, and there's so many opportunities, and they just all look so stunning, especially with the sparkles. They really, really do sparkle. And that's it. There you go. Nice little project. Thanks for watching. Bye.